Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
Disgraced former prosecutor of Macomb County heading to federal prison for obstruction of justice, but there is much more to Eric Smith's guilty plea.
Governor Whitmer preparing to deliver her State of the State address as political opponents launch an aggressive new challenge to her authority.
Just out of reach. One woman struggled to get vaccinated, has her convinced she'd be able to get an appointment if she had a different address. We're going to start tonight at 6 with the coronavirus as concerns over the COVID variant prompt a new stay-in-place recommendation.
It comes from Washtenaw County and is similar to the one issued for U of M students last fall. It applies to students who live on or near the Ann Arbor campus. The county health department telling students today stay home and avoid gatherings through February 7th.
In Lansing, GOP lawmakers are threatening to withhold school funding unless Governor Whitmer gives up her power to make decisions on in-person school and sports. Today, Michigan reporting 1,681 new cases of the virus and 6 more deaths from COVID. President Biden's COVID task force held its first briefing today, virtually, we should point out, and without the president himself being there.
One of the key topics was getting Americans vaccinated after the announcement the Biden administration secured 200 million more doses for the nation.
Heard from the president this week. He is pushing us to view 1 million per day as the floor, not the ceiling. To that end, we are releasing more supply, activating FEMA, and deploying many more personnel.
Now, each day we're hearing news stories of frustration from people who can't get an appointment for the vaccine, even though it is their turn.
One local woman believes a distance of 20 feet may be hurting her chances. Sean Leah is live with the story. And Sean, this woman lives right at the border between 2 counties.
Talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Her name is Debbie. She's 68. You would think because of her severe heart and lung challenges, she would be at the top of the COVID-19 vaccine list. Her cardiologist telling her there's nothing they can do.
Naively, I thought that there would be some sort of prioritization based on those factors. But I learned at my appointment at Michigan Medicine on Monday with my cardiology team that they have no say, they have no input.
This is a scary time for Debbie Pettit. She can't get COVID and she can't seem to get the COVID vaccine based on where she lives. She lives on the last 20 feet of Wayne County where it meets Washtenaw County.
And I go on to Wayne County through Michigan.gov and it just says nothing. They're not doing anything.
But friends younger and healthier than Debbie are getting COVID vaccine shots, and Debbie says they're also getting multiple vaccine appointments. Debbie reached out to Local 4 with this question.
Can you take someone else's appointment if they give it to you?
I checked for Debbie, and the answer is most health systems and counties will not allow anyone to share their appointment. Frustrating because Debbie can't even get an appointment when her friends are getting shots and multiple appointments.
She got it on Monday. And then she, on Tuesday, got notified from Washtenaw County to make an appointment. So it's like, come on.
Yeah, come on. You can feel the frustration there. It was 2 weeks ago we told you that Wayne County has 500,000 people just like Debbie eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. But the county health department said, go to your local provider. Don't come to the county. So she's out of going to Wayne County. She can't go 20 feet to Washtenaw County. She's left with going to Michigan Medicine. Appointments there are tough to come by, so she's trying Meyer. We hope to learn that she gets an appointment very, very soon. Back to you.
Hope so. Just so frustrating for so many people right now. Sean, we appreciate it.
Former Macomb County Prosecutor Eric Smith will, in fact, be heading off to federal prison soon. Today, he pleaded guilty to 1 count of obstruction of justice. Rod Maloney joining us live with more on this. And Rod, the government says Smith's crimes went pretty far beyond that obstruction charge.
Indeed they did. Now here's a guy who spent 15 years looking to put other people in jail, and now he is headed there himself. His court hearing today, which was a Zoom conference call, had been postponed because he had the COVID virus. He admitted to having diabetes today, said he'd never been sicker in his life. But here's where we are. He pleads guilty, inextricably changing his future, and leaves a lot of people in Macomb County wondering what in the world happened. Former Macomb County Prosecutor Eric Smith's long-held political sway quickly diminished in 2019 when Michigan State Police raided his office for records and then his home where they removed a security system. Yet, the crime he admitted to today in a virtual hearing came long after those raids. The Fed saying the cover-up happened a year ago inside the Macomb County Prosecutor's office. Smith allegedly bringing employees into a back stairwell without cell phones to prevent recording and worked to steer the investigation away from him. The government's case alleges two separate fraud schemes where Smith convinced a friend and two prosecutors to lie to investigators and a grand jury, where he was trying to hide $74,000 in campaign funds that he'd converted for personal use. In today's hearing, Smith told Judge Linda Parker, quote, "I attempted to have friends give inaccurate information to the government on actions I shouldn't have done. I knew it was wrong and I did it anyway," end quote. He also said, quote, "I fully accept responsibility. I acted alone for myself and deeply regret my actions and the shame I brought to my wife, children, and the office I worked in for 30 years. I accept my punishment," end quote. U.S. Attorney Matthew Schneider said today Macomb County residents should avoid being disheartened by a corrupt public servant.
Today, the citizens of Macomb and the state of Michigan should feel relieved that the system works and people who commit crimes, they don't get away with them.
Now, he's expected to serve something between 15 and 21 months in prison. That's what the feds are suggesting. He's also going to forfeit just under $70,000, and he's expected to be at his sentencing on April 27th. Reporting live, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
Quite a fall. All right, Rod.
A federal lawsuit is filed, and lawyers claim a defective breathalyzer device was used to convict a Tecumseh man of operating while intoxicated. The lawsuit alleges members of Michigan State Police knowingly remained silent and used inaccurate blood alcohol content test results to convict the man. The lawsuit also alleges Intoximeters, the company behind the device, remained silent about the inaccurate data. State police launched an investigation into Intoximeters last year after two of their technicians were charged with falsifying police alcohol breath test equipment records.
Governor Whitmer delivering what is going to be, not surprisingly, a COVID-heavy State of the State address coming up tonight at 7 p.m. from Lansing. What else is on tap? Mara McDonald live at the Capitol tonight with what we expect. Mara?
Hi, Devin. Well, clearly the bulk of this is going to have to be about COVID, but we have some specifics for you. The governor is expected to talk about improving the vaccine rollout as well as monies for pandemic, affected businesses and people and how we move ourselves out of that. In addition, we're told that she is going to talk about seeking common ground with her Republican colleagues in the legislature, which is interesting because I would say that relationship right now is fairly chilly. But it's not going to be all COVID all the time. We are told infrastructure is going to play a part in this, whether it is roads or talking about improvements to the water and wastewater across the state. So we do expect to hear that in that 30 minutes, which is different. Usually these addresses go about an hour, and she will be doing it virtually from her office here in the Capitol. We are live in Lansing tonight. I'm Mara McDonald. Back to you.
All COVID all the time sounds like the world's worst radio format, doesn't it? But that's kind of what 2020 and 2021. Yeah. All right, Mara, we will obviously have much more coming up from you tonight. And again, you can watch the governor's address at 7 p.m. either here on Local 4 or we'll stream it live on our website at clickondetroit.com. Now, meanwhile, Michigan's former governor, Jennifer Granholm, went before a Senate committee to make her bid for confirmation as President Biden's energy secretary. In her opening remarks, Granholm pledged to create jobs through new clean energy policies while preserving jobs in the traditional energy sectors.
Well, viewers are coming up with some excellent questions about the COVID-19 vaccines and submitting them through our website, clickondetroit.com. And our medical expert, Dr. Frank McGeorge, sees them all. Dr. McGeorge joins us live now. And Frank, one of the questions you keep getting, it's a good one, has to do with the safety of the vaccine during pregnancy.
Yeah, Kim, several viewers have asked if they should get the vaccine if they're currently pregnant, and other viewers have actually expressed concern because although they are not pregnant now, they are actually trying to conceive. Unfortunately, the answer to those questions is complicated because of some differing opinions. Medication use during pregnancy is a personal decision, and every mother-to-be has different levels of concern. An important question is simply, what's the benefit compared to the risk? On the benefit side, we believe pregnant women are more likely to develop severe COVID-19, and the vaccine does protect from developing symptomatic disease. On the risk side, we know a developing baby can be sensitive to things the mother is exposed to, but we don't have any specific research into the exact effect that COVID vaccines might have. There were a very small number of women in the phase 3 trials who became pregnant after their first dose, and no adverse outcomes were found. We know other vaccines, like the flu shot, are safe during pregnancy, and there isn't any specific reason to believe the COVID vaccines would be any different. Until there's more definitive safety information, the CDC has made the following recommendation. People who are pregnant and part of a group recommended to receive the COVID-19 vaccine may choose to be vaccinated. The World Health Organization's stance is slightly different. WHO recommends not to use an mRNA vaccine in pregnancy unless the benefit of vaccinating a pregnant woman outweighs the potential vaccine risks, such as in health workers at high risk of exposure and pregnant women with comorbidities, placing them in a high-risk group for severe COVID-19. Now, another question some viewers have asked is whether the vaccine could cause sterility. The answer to that is no. It's been studied in animal models with no such issues, and women have become pregnant after receiving the vaccines in multiple clinical trials.
Yeah, Frank, I want to go back to the CDC and WHO recommendations. Neither sounds really strong, like a strong endorsement of getting the vaccine during pregnancy. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, Kim, actually, I would say that's pretty accurate. Here's my opinion. Until there's clear data, it just makes sense to consider every person's COVID risk individually, and even consider, frankly, what trimester of pregnancy they're in. Our best estimate is that the vaccines are safe, but hopefully we will have research to support that eventually. Yeah. Back to you.
Okay, Frank, thanks.
A new study says rising new car prices and improved reliability have a lot of people keeping their cars longer than ever. National average is now 6 to 7 years, though some are holding on for up to 15. So which vehicles do Detroit drivers hold on to the longest? According to IC Cars, they hold on to the Honda Pilot the longest, followed by the GMC Yukon XL and the Toyota Camry. Chevy Colorado and the Toyota Corolla round out the top 5.
All right, a nice sunny day, but snow is back in the forecast. Let's check in with Ben.
Yeah, whatever you're driving, I hope that heater works because you're going to be needing it here tonight. 18 by midnight, and we're going to single digits and negative wind chills by morning. We'll look at that at our next snow shot, which is just around the corner coming up.
All right, Ben, also, it's a lofty goal, breaking the cycle of poverty between generations.
But a program that just arrived in Detroit is getting some remarkable results. We'll show you how it works next.